Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the last Tea Time SEO of the week. This is a initiative that we encourage everyone to join us at 4 p.m. Every day to connect with others and learn something new. And of course, bring your tea or coffee and cake. So I'm SEO Joe Blogs, and I'm also joined here today by Carrie Shepherd. And today we have some great speakers talking about Google for Jobs, a subject that none of us have shared on Tea Time SEO before. We have Mark Bonomo and Matt Hunt. Please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We will be answering them later on. But without further ado, I'll pass over to Marco to share his tips and his intro.
Yeah. Hi, Joe. Hi, everybody. So my name is Marco, and for the past few years, I've been working for Mediacom, which is a big media and digital marketing agency in London. I like also to write, so I've been writing for quite a few blogs, like Search Engine Land, Search Engine Watch. I've been talking at Brighton SEO for the past 2 years. And specifically talking about this topic, I have some experience as a recruiter. So I know very much what does it mean to post, to recruit for new people. And obviously I got experience in Google for Jobs, which is what topic I'm really, really passionate about. And the fun fact, I used to be a figure skater, definitely not a good one. So if you can imagine something like, I don't know if you ever watch Blades of Glory, that would be that kind of movie, that kind of experience. And that's it, that's me. Yeah, the topics we'd like to talk about, Google for Jobs. So what I recommend to do is that we need to, you got 3 kind of resources, especially if you're starting out with Google for Jobs. The first one is your Bible has to be the official Google guidelines, because they got the most up-to-date information about how to structure your schema, how to do the testing, how to do the job ad itself. So all the information you need, absolutely, it's all in the official Google guidelines. Just simple Google on like Google for Jobs schema of Google, and is like always the first result. The second one is a guide that I published a few months ago with Search Engine Land. And it's particularly useful if you're starting out. So if you want to have a kind of like bird's eye view of what is going on, from structuring your job ad to the schema markup, to what to look in Search Console or in Analytics, this is a really good point to start with. And also, if you're doing with the schema markup, there's no better place to start with the Merkle technical SEO schema app, where you can start, you can practice, and you make sure that the schema markup is good and it's going to be picked by Google. Another tip is that since Google for Jobs has got its own search engine, so it's a search engine inside another search engine, and is not considering like some other elements like backlinks or some other ones. What are the most important SEO elements for Google for Jobs is the quality of the job ad. What does it mean? That when you're when you're structuring your job ad, you need to make sure that you got the basic essential information, such as the company intro, what you're looking for, responsibilities for the person, for the candidate, all the kind of skills and experience you really want to find in a candidate. But in my experience, if you want really to go to the top, to have a top ranking in Google for Jobs, you need to have something else. You need to add the ad has to be as consistent and as exhaustive as possible. So you need to add working hours, salary information, the kind of benefits the company is providing, and also like some desirable skills. For example, if you're a developer, you need to add. It would be good if you know also these other languages, or company information, like we are the headquarters is here. You can reach us here, and so all the kind of information that makes the job ad really, really suited for that particular person to apply to. Another tip is more related to the location itself, because Google has got a very, very particular way to understand what kind of how they're going to rank all the job ads. Obviously, it's a very competitive market. Everybody's looking for talents. And if you're in a competitive market, like you're looking for a digital marketing manager or a developer, it's very difficult for Google to rank them. So the location is definitely going to be one of the main points that are going to decide which ad to serve to a particular person. So, for example, if you're like in central London and your IP address is like central London, and the job allocation is in a place, in a location in central London, you're going to be served this at first. So it's always a really, really good idea to add all the locations, talking about not just the city, but for example, even the postcodes, the streets, and anything you can add to is going to be really, really helpful in serving your job ad and to have really, really high rankings in Google for Jobs. And we can go to the next slide. This is more related to the situation, the situation we're currently living with the lockdown. So if you're a company, and it is a really good advice, it's really, really has been published by Google probably not a long time ago. So I'm bringing this to the attention to the people that really wants to switch from normal recruitment to remote working. So if you're a company or an agency and you want to recruit for people with a kind of like flexible smart working, the kind of things you need to implement on a schema markup are two. So the job location type it has to be telecommute. This is going to tell Google that you can accept like remote working. But what is going to happen, for example, when you want to receive people sending CVs just from specific countries. For example, for tax reasons, you don't want people from abroad to apply to your jobs. You need to add this second one, which is called applicant location requirements. And you can add all the countries you would like the people to see the ad for. So, for example, if you put just USA, the ad is going to be shown just for the people living in the USA. And it's a really, really kind of like way for Google. It's a very nice way for Google to provide, to further like enhance these kind of job ads in this particular moment. So it's a really, really good thing to consider if you're switching to remote working in these times. And finally, my last tip is about reporting, because especially if you work agency side, you want to report about what's the status, you want to provide an update about the improvements you made with Google for Jobs. So anything, literally anything you can track with Google Analytics, I'm talking about the traffic, the applications, the locations, and so many different other things, you can obviously import them through Google Data Studio. So my final advice is that try to build as many dashboards, insightful dashboards you can, because this is going to really help to save a lot of time.
Hi everyone, my name is Matt, and I am a technical SEO consultant working at Built Visible. We are we're independent specialist organic digital performance agency, doing content and SEO and digital PR. So I've done a couple of Google for Jobs implementations in the past, both on WordPress. I've done it a cheap way, and I've done it the free way as well. I've also actually worked in, like Marco, worked in the recruitment sector as well. So I've got first-hand experience there. And a lot of my clients at the moment, there's a tendency I work within SEO for lead generation. So not e-commerce websites, but things like SaaS or general lead generation sites. So the fun fact, my favorite animal is the honey badger. So feel free to go on YouTube after this and consume some honey badger content. Really is the best animal content on YouTube, so highly recommended. Go for it. So my first tip is keyword research. So as far as writing adverts are concerned, then yeah, don't put Jedis, ninjas, grandmasters, that type of thing. The search volume's not there, so you want to be looking for, you want to be basically calling your job titles, writing your adverts as people are searching. So first and foremost, keyword research. Doesn't have to be specific to jobs as well. It can actually, you can actually put the skills in there. So there's a decent chunk of keyword search volume for even things like, if you put HTML jobs, for example, there's 150 search volume monthly for HTML jobs. So the job itself doesn't actually exist, but there is volume for there. So it's a skill within a job. So think how you're going to write the advert. What are you going to put in that headline? Don't put Jedi Master, SAP Consultant, or New Business Ninja, because probably your click-through rate is going to be quite low, or impression rate even. So yeah, that's that on keyword research. So next one, keyword. Once you've done your keyword research, you want to be testing and improving as well. So as I mentioned before, you've got search volume for HTML, search volume for JavaScript jobs. So you're not just consigned to write front-end developer, web developer, JavaScript developer, but you can add in extras like possibly HTML in the skills as well, in the headline, and you might pick up some like more impressions, more clicks, or you might not. But the important thing here is to actually see and test. If you're working for a recruitment agency as well, I mean, there might be an element of risk here, but do you have to just post one job? It's probably, you know, you can post a couple and see which one performs the best. So yeah, I'd say definitely do some testing after you've done your data-driven research on keyword research. But however, don't abuse the schema. As you can see here, this can get you in a lot of trouble. It's happened before with things like recipes. So yeah, don't go around trying to squeeze in irrelevant data into Google for Jobs schema, because first of all, it's spammy anyway, and yeah, it just doesn't look good. And secondly, you could get a manual action, which is very bad. So probably don't abuse the schema. Oh, yeah, WordPress implementation. So I alluded to this earlier. I've done it. You can do it for free with the Jobs for WordPress plugin. So that out the box, I've tested a few of them. That one is probably the best free one. It's got some decent functionality. So if you've just started your recruitment company or whatever, I would say just bang in that one and it will cover all the bases. WP Job Manager, on the other hand, that is a good solution as well. There's some good source code that you can build up from available. To that end, I don't know if you can read that. Even this company here, UK Startup Jobs, this job board, they've recently been acquired, even in this age. I don't know how much for though, by a recruitment technology company, and their job manager board is based upon WP Job Manager. So that's a testament to the source code there that you can use in your WordPress implementation. So okay, the next one, you've got to think as well. Marketing qualified leads. So kind of goes back to the ninjas and the Jedis and whatnot. Like, think about if you're going to get visitors to your actual Google for Jobs adverts, like there's no point in having a one line job ad saying we're looking for a superhero social media and SEO expert. It's there's not really much point in that. So you got to think, as Marco said, the quality of the copy as well is you're gonna get more people there, and when they actually get there, you're gonna get the quality of the people actually converting. So I don't know, I'm not sure what Marco thinks, but I'm not sure I would send my CV off to someone who's looking for a superhero SEO expert, and that's their job advert. It's a bit shady. And things like just don't qualify out your leads as well. Don't give them big hurdles to jump over, like essential qualifications, undergraduate degree from accredited institution, preferably in marketing or finance. Why qualify people out? You want to convert, don't you? So think where they're going eventually.
Great, thank you very much. Some good advice from two experts. So, Dickie, can we? I'll pass over to Carrie for to ask people if they have any questions. I think we've got some in the audience.
Great, thank you. So first we have a question from Sarah. She asks, how does this affect job listings on platforms like Indeed? Are you going to compete against those sorts of websites, and would you list on the platforms and also run Google Ads?
Is this for Marco or myself?
I think it's for either of you.
We can do both. So in my opinion, Google for Jobs is a really, really good way to try to create a different channel. So if you're a big organization in the UK, you're probably going to spend around probably a $250,000 every year just in recruitment ads, talking about LinkedIn and some other job boards. So it's quite a consistent figure. What you can do with Google for Jobs is try to lower that budget. And obviously, it's good to have multi-channels. It's good to have a LinkedIn, job boards, Indeed, and also there's so many ones. But Google for Jobs is really a kind of free, democratic way for Google from Google to compete with giants. The good thing about Matt's suggestion was this plugin for WordPress. So it's really any kind of company, from the small one to the big ones. Anybody can access Google for Jobs. So Google made this thing really, really democratic. So it's there is no need for small, especially for small companies, to post to pay for job ads.
With that as well, I've got some added extras, like Indeed, for example. So they don't get they've opted out of Google for Jobs. I believe that was through choice rather than not being invited to it. So there's not going to be any competition on the actual platform per se there. But stuff that I have noticed, and this will go into your this will feed into your other multi-channel integrated marketing efforts. So things like branded search on Google for Jobs. If you type in the company and then the job, it'll display the company's job, obviously, and then a lot of the time you won't have the other options on what to click through. So there's a certain bit when you click on one job, you'll have like several job boards from left to right. I think the left one gets the highest click-through rate, I'm assuming. So there's an element of competition there, but like branded search on Google for Jobs, that will come. You're likely to get that traffic straight to your website or job portal, and then you've got to think, well, if that's the case, there is a business case then for brand building your recruitment company and reducing the CPA of your candidates, because you don't have to use X, Y, and Z job board every month and pay them money, because if you've got good enough brand and you've got Google for Jobs, then there's money to be saved there. Plus, you don't know how Google's going to improve their platform as well, because you can save jobs in there. What are the implications for that later?
That's useful, thank you. We also have a question from Lawrence, who says that on some job sites, when you edit the advert, it then goes back to the top of the list again, which, as we all know, is a good place to be. Any tips for doing something similar with Google Jobs?
Well, in my experience, the refresh. If you refresh the date, the publishing date on your job ads, is going to have some effect. So don't do it. In my recommendation is that don't do it like every 3 days, but try to keep it. If the job ad, if you're still looking for the person, it's probably best practice if you republish the job ad every 30 days. That's going to help to bring back to the top, at least for a while.
This is where the whole testing thing comes in as well. I mean, there's no reason why if you're running a recruitment agency, you can't have 2 adverts and test it out. You have to put a limit on the job though, and then according to Google, you do kind of have it to, it needs to run through to its expiry date, and then it needs to 404 for you to not get in Google's bad books. But I don't see why there would be that much of a problem having another job advert that you're kind of, as long as it's a real advert, maybe see what happens, test it out would be a good thing to do as well.
Yeah. We have one other question, which says, is the Jobs WordPress free and how good is it?
Jobs for WordPress?
Yeah.
I think the plugin, you were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
It's free when I last used it. It's it's decent enough, I think, depending on the size of your organization, but I'd say you can implement it pretty quickly, and it has other additional features like the job shortcodes. So for example, if you wanted to set your job site out like a e-commerce type store, so you've got categories of jobs like digital marketing jobs or whatnot, and then have those broader terms ranked for you, can put the short codes in there for specific filtered jobs, so it's got those added extras. But yeah, it's free unless they've changed the price, and it's good. I tested a few out. There's some that don't have Google for Jobs. You can't implement it quite well with that. But yeah, that's the best implementation for free I've found.
Great, thank you. Well, I think that's all the questions we have. Back over to Joe.
Yeah, thank you. So some very interesting tips that you shared, and we had some comments from the audience as well. That was great. Thank you very much. I just have one last. You can both answer this one. It's really just if you were to have, let's say you're doing your own recruitment, so you don't have a recruitment site and anything like that. You need to keep costs low. Can you use this the job schema marker that you were talking about on your own site quite easily? I assume it would be similar to what you were saying, Matt.
Yeah, so basically any page on your website, as long as you put a schema, you got the job ad, and the two are matching, is good enough for Google to appear in Google for Jobs. Obviously, appearing is something. Ranking is something different. But as Matt said, it's matter of testing, implementing, and try. Just probably the first attempt is not going to be a great success. But obviously, the more you test, the better you get at rankings, and so you can get to the top easily.
If you're going to implement it on WordPress from the ground up, so I was chatting with our developer before, so that would be like the slickest solution. However, people don't have the budgets for that, so that would be if you were running a recruitment agency and you were quite a handy front end developer / PHP / WordPress developer, then that would be a good way to go. But the plugins would be the quickest fix, I'd say.
Okay. Lauren just mentioned something here. Why not consider working with us at company name instead? We're creating ads targeting a bigger brand name to try and leverage the interest in working for their brand. Like looking for developer jobs at Facebook? Why not considering working with us instead? That could work, couldn't it?
Oh, what? Trying to like abuse a schema. Just that could possibly
No,
work.
not abusing the schema. It's being creative with the ads.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
it really sounds like a clickbait to me, but I'm not sure.
Okay, well,
Because
an idea.
yeah. I definitely read Google's terms and conditions before that. Like, I wouldn't fancy a manual action. That'll your dreams of recruitment company, rolling in money as a recruitment company.
Lawrence was like it was testing ad copy, so no abusing schema, just to confirm.
Yeah, maybe. I reckon people should go out and give it a good test and see. Why not?
Great. Well, thank you very much, Marco and Matt, for joining us today. You had some excellent tips and insights that we can all go and implement, especially with if we don't have developer help, we can just use some of the plugins that you suggested. Today is our last one of the week. Tomorrow is the bank holiday in many countries, well, France and UK and maybe a few others, celebrating VE Day. So thank you all for coming today. We have 3 great speakers on Monday talking about how paid and organic can be working together. We have Azim, Julia, and Maciej from Blue Rank Poland. They'll be talking. So tune in on Monday at 4 p.m. and you can get some insightful tips from those 3 speakers. And thanks again, Marco and Matt, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, and also if anybody else wants to speak at Tea Time SEO, please contact Carrie. We will be running this all throughout the rest of May, and we have some slots available for you. So thank you very much. See you soon.